Hey guys, just wait for a few more people to join. Oh, I need to post it. Oop. Okay, let's download this. Hey everybody. Little bird. It's like Game of Thrones. The guy has his little birds. What's his name? Bald dude. What am I looking for? Span. Okay. Go with white today. That's it, varies. I like this so far. I think the kick is a bit, I know, here I go with the kick again. I feel like the kick is a bit almost like boomy. Wonder if like a touch of EQ would help. Maybe shortening the kick a slight bit would help too. Yeah, like that makes it sound a bit better. If you just put this EQ on your kick, then that'll probably fix it. high end feels a little bit unbalanced to me. It's like there's quite a lot of like almost hiss in the left channel. The right channel feels a bit empty. So I would try and just get those hats feeling a bit more full and wide. Just to like fill out that top end a bit more. Like if I turn this on. Yeah, so it's like you've got this, I don't know, one of the loops is panned left, but it's kind of throwing off the balance of the top end. I wouldn't have this section being this empty. It's like almost, it's just too empty. Could probably just fill it out with something, you know, like a sound of a river, or use those little kids laughing and things like that. Because if you played this in a club, then people would be like, what happened to the music? Where's it gone? Yeah, it's a nice tune. I think the composition works really well. I'd say it's mostly just the kick and then this section that needs some work, some filling out. Mm. say like you could maybe get away with a bit more automation on the ARP, not filter automation, because you've already got, you know, you're doing that quite well already, I think. But yeah, maybe you can play with the attack of the envelope, the filter envelope sometimes. Maybe you can try and make it a bit more like plucky with the amp envelope, like shorten the decay every once in a while, so it's, I don't know, more like staccato and plucky. Just play with those and just try and make it a tiny bit more interesting. Okay, sorry, I just closed my chat by mistake. I'm reopening it. Okay, cool. Next up, J. Okay. Sounds like it's about to be some sort of like Neuro DNB banger. This like vocal sample feels like it's hitting in front of the beat, like it's not on the beat. Kick is hitting really high for a kick. It's like, I don't know, 70 hertz. I don't know why it looks different on span. So far, it just feels like this track is lacking direction or like a theme or something. Like it just feels like you've got a few different ideas. It's not really the same track though. So far, the main thing that I don't really like is the kick. Otherwise, the groove seems to work quite well. I think you could probably get away with making, like for this style, like this more aggressive style, having like your ARP be less reverby. It's almost like trancey. So if you back off on the reverb and make it a bit drier, maybe a bit more aggressive, like up front. I think that might work. Yeah, personally, I think you should remove this weird robotic voice sample. It just feels like a bit random to me, and it doesn't really do much for me personally. Oh, I think we got a donation. Thanks for the donation, Janice. I hope I'm saying your name right. Take this cup of coffee. Thank you so much. Is it Janice or Yanis? Janice. Yanni. Laurel. Cool. Just sending that in. Savish. I've heard this track before. I like it. So I guess you're not really looking for like feedback because it's finished. So it doesn't matter if I'm like, oh, I don't like the kick because can't really go and change it anyway, but happy to show it to everybody. For what it's worth, I think you could have found better hats for this track. Like the offbeat hat is kind of, I don't know, almost panned right. Doesn't feel as upfront as the 16th hat. Another thing I'm noticing with this is that like it's lacking high end on everything other than the hats. Like your synths are all quite like more mid-focused. There doesn't seem to be any like really like grit or high end in them. So maybe that's something you could work on. cool. Nice work, buddy. Next up. The right one, Prog24. Yeah. Oh, we got a donation. Basehugger has donated $10. Thanks, Jules. Thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate it, buddy. Sounds good so far. I think it seems pretty balanced. You got like a nice what's it, call and response between those two melodic ideas. It's like a good example of call and response. It's like they're having a conversation with each other. You got like one synth asking a question and then another one giving like a different answer every time. Oh, we got another donation. Thanks, Roy Destroys donated $3 with no message, but thank you for the donation. Appreciate it. Go and buy myself a I don't know, a beer or something after this. Yeah, so that is a nice idea. I think you just need to develop it into a full song. You got more than enough elements here to build out. I mean, you can pretty much just flesh out an entire track with all of those elements without much work. Just a bit of cutting and pasting around, probably some automation and transitions, and then it'll be done. Nice work. I don't really have much feedback in the way of the mix. Sounds pretty good. Yeah. Thanks for sending it in. Oh, you want feedback? Was that this track? Feedback in the low end? Let's just check out the low end quickly then. Pro 1, Pro Q. I'd say the sub sounds fine to me, like you can hear the clear separation between the kick and the sub. Maybe you could bring down the sub on the synth a little bit. Because at the moment the sub on the synth feels almost a bit louder than the kick, I think. And then your chords, you could maybe just dip out some of the mid-range from them. By mid-range I mean like 200 to 300 hertz, just a bit of a bell curve over here. And that'll help your sub on the track a little bit more. Yeah, that actually, this EQ that I've just applied feels a bit better to me. Just by cleaning up those mids a little bit, it's kind of allowed the sub to hit a bit harder. Yeah, that definitely helps. So if you, instead of doing this on the master, go into your chord, whatever's making those chords, clean it up like that, and then maybe give it a little bit of a boost like this on your master, or I don't know, compress the kick and the sub a bit together, like that'll probably give a similar effect to this, what I've done over here. Yeah, but I think other than that, you know, it sounds pretty good to me. Bass hugger. Well, you donated, so I'll do you now, and then we'll do the next track after that. We'll come back. Oh, you need to share your private link, because that link's not working. Or where are you? Yeah. I'll give you a second to repaste that link. Well, while we wait for you, I'll just download this one. I'll just wait for you to fix that link, but I'm going to start playing this because I don't want to have a long awkward silence. I'm just laughing to myself because this EQ that I accidentally left on makes this track sound better already. It's that magical EQ curve. Sorry, Robert, I will do your track next. I just didn't want to sit around here and wait for the long lag of the stream. I think if you added like some spaced out hits and stuff, you could make this long intro a bit more interesting. At the moment I'm kind of starting to feel a bit, I don't know, stale. So adding stuff like these things, I made a bunch of these. Just like adding stuff like this. And, I don't know, just take like a bunch of random hits. Things like that. Obviously, don't just throw them in like I did. Like time them perfectly and make it make sense, but using sounds like that can really help these long sections where the bass line isn't changing and there isn't really much else happening. It's just something like some ear candy, I guess. That's why I named the pack Ear Candy. So that little melody that you have coming in here, it's cool, but it's a bit quiet, I think. You can turn it up. It's there, it like wants to be cool, but it just sounds a bit shy. It's like a socially awkward synth. Just sitting at the corner in the party, like it's got something to say, but it's not really saying it loud enough. Nobody's hearing it. Yeah, honestly, this EQ that I've applied also works quite well on this track. I think it just needs, it's just because that sub needs to be brought up a bit and the mids need to be tamed a bit. So if you apply, again, something like this to your individual instruments, so try and reduce stuff in this range and this range, just by finding instruments that are playing in this range and turning them down, turning up your sub a little bit. Will sound a bit better. I'm not a big fan of the lead in this section. Like it's almost too complex what it's doing, like all these crazy and then going burp 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 burp. It's like it's not very memorable, and the emotions aren't there to like make me want to listen to it again. But when you had the lead first came in, it sounded pretty cool. So I would just work on maybe simplifying the melody over here. So the clap over here is lacking a lot of high end. It's like the kick has more high end than the clap. Like that's where I want the clap to be sitting almost. Like that's too much because I'm doing it to everything, but if you did that to your clap, maybe just, I don't know, found a different clap, then that would help. Cool. Thanks for sending that in. Okay. Just reading the chat. Royd asks, can you check mine? The reason I switched to Ableton, by the way, the project is still in FL Studio and a bit older. Yes, I will get to yours. How it works is I do things from top to bottom in the chat, and if you donate money, then I move yours to the top of the list. So that's why I'm doing this track next. And then we'll come back to this one. Okay, so right away it's like you've got this ARP in the background that feels really thin and quiet. But to me, like as the listener, it feels like that should be the focus, like my ear is focusing on that. So you kind of need to help me along and bring that to the front of the mix and make it a bit like thicker and more interesting, I think. Because at the moment, the front of the mix is being taken up by all the percussion. And the percussion is a bit unbalanced too, so like you've got your offbeat hat, which is at, you know, I don't know what volume it's at, but at every like fourth kick is some other sort of hat that comes in that sounds like it's about 4 dB louder than the main offbeat hat. So you need to just balance those. So turn down the other one that hits like every once in a while. And then bring that up to the front of the mix too. I think, yeah, 100%. Like this track could be improved with 2 minutes of just playing with the volume faders, just turning up that ARP, turning down the hat that's like hitting on every fourth beat. I think it's every fourth beat. And then maybe turning up that little vocal sample too. Bassline sounds cool. I think you've got a nice idea for the track here. It's just the mix is kind of ruining it. Royd says, will mine come up next? No, it won't. This one is up next. And then this one, if they fix the link, I guess. Then that one, then this one, then this one, then that one, then that one, then that one, and then yours will come up. But I'm only going until 5:30, which is in half an hour. So I think like the composition is good and the structure is good of this track, on this track. I don't think there's really any problems there. I think this is like a classic case of, you know how to write music, you just haven't learned how to mix it yet. And you know, a good mix on this would actually turn this into a pretty good song. It's mostly just, you know, it's not even EQ and compression and all that other stuff. It's literally just volume faders that you need to play with. A good trick to do when you are mixing a track, and if you struggle with it, is to think about which elements should be the main elements, and then turn down the volume of the track really quiet so you can just barely hear it. Like there, I can only just barely hear it, and the hats are by far like the most noticeable thing. I can barely even hear that ARP anymore. And by doing that, you can adjust the volume levels so that you're only hearing the elements that are supposed to be at the front of the mix. And then when you're done, turn it back up and continue working on it. But it's a good trick that I learned by watching somebody else produce long ago, is that every like 5 minutes while he was mixing his track, he kept on going to the master fader and just like turning it all the way down and then working for 5 minutes and then turning it back up, working at a different volume, making it loud, and then just working on it again and then dropping it back down and so on. And by doing that, you kind of keep your ears fresh and keep them on their toes. Thanks for sending it in. I'm just a bit confused by the name here. Blind. Is your name Blind or is the song name Blind? I guess this is Enrique Busto. That's your name. Your SoundCloud account is Jeb. So far I just feel like sounds that are being used are just, they don't really stand out. They're pretty, I don't know, average or below average sounding. Like the clap is a bit boring, or the snare, it's kind of just like a white noisy snare. And when you have a track like this where it's just like one note bass line, you got to do things to make it more interesting. So like having a really tasty clap or snare and some really like strong hi-hats and stuff is like absolutely necessary. So the sounds just feel a bit average to me. I can't really check the low end through SoundCloud properly, but it doesn't feel right to me. It's like I don't know, almost too boomy it feels. The main melody synth is like quite repetitive because it's not, doesn't sound like it's being automated at all. I think you need to play a bit more with like the filter cutoff and stuff to just keep it changing and evolving. As I say that, it starts being automated, but I mean, throughout this whole section, it didn't really sound like it was being automated. So there's no real impact here when this kick comes back in. Like it feels like, I mean, I would expect it to be like that moment when everybody goes nuts, like this huge explosion of energy. And it kind of just sounds like that. The energy here needs to be like at the highest point in the track, I feel. So I would add like, you know, really like 16th note hi-hat, maybe some rides, a crash or something, just to build the energy, and or maybe like a synth lead stab or something to just really get in your face and like kick you in the stomach. Yeah, so maybe if you have like some sort of, I know you mentioned here you can't find the right sound you want. My only advice is to just try a bunch of sounds until you find the right sound. But once you've found something, make like some sort of basic melody or something that goes in here, like, you know, some long sustained kind of melody, and have it really filtered. And then when this drop hits, and you can open it up and reveal the full melody, and that'll give it some energy. Because at the moment it's like this transition, it's almost like, you know, somebody with Alzheimer's telling you a story, and then they kind of getting close to the point of the story, but then they forgot what they're talking about, so they just go back to the same thing that they were saying before. So it's like, this is my story. Yeah, and finally I'm getting to the point of the story. Oh, I forgot what I was talking about. Let's just go back to this. So that's why if you fix this, add something in here and then like reveal it over here, then that's the climax of the track, and that'll really help. Justin, thanks for the $5. Really appreciate it. Okay, next up, I don't think this is going to work. Oh, it is. just download it. Yes, only 15 more minutes now. Oh, Henry, did you donate? When you guys donate, make sure to like tell me that which one is your track in the message or something. Because like these are my donations today and I don't see a Henry here. So if you tell me which one is yours, I will do it next. Okay, Justin has posted a track too. So I'll do Justin's after this one. So this bass stab that you have over here, that needs to have like a lot of sub in it. Because it's just like, to my ear, it just needs that sub for it to be like impactful. Okay, Henry, I'll do yours after Justin's track. Okay, so the main problem with this is just that the sounds they just don't really work very well. So the sub, the bass is like too buzzy, almost. Like I would close the filter on that. It's like fighting with the main melody, and then the main melody got too much reverb on it, and it kind of feels a bit thin. I mean, I don't even know if that's the bass line because it sounds like there's a different sub underneath it. So this like sustained synth that you have in the background, I think that's the nicest part of the track so far. But it's so buried behind this almost annoying bass patch that's like buzzing in my ears. So I think if you clean that up, like low pass it and make room for that other synth to come through a bit more, then you've got quite a nice section over here. Yep, I really like that background melody that you have. I think you should definitely low pass that mid-rangey, bassy synth that's kind of following the main melody, and bring down that main melody and turn up that background synth a bit more. And then the kick is also like kind of boxy, so just try out some other kicks until you have something that sits a bit nicer, I think. Okay, just running out of time, so I want to do Justin and Henry's track. Under Copo, where is he? Here we go. Yeah, I don't really like that clap or snare, whatever it is. Yeah, it doesn't... kind of just sounds like a bit of white noise almost. think this ARP feels a bit dry. I would add try delay. You'd probably find you could get some really cool rhythms by adding a delay on there. Just try like dotted notes or even just straight like 8th notes or 16th notes. You'll probably find you get like a really cool rhythm, and it kind of just helps the ARP out a bit. It sounds like you've got a new snare coming in over here. Oh no, I think what I'm focusing on is... So that snare sounds fine. But and then on this kick you have like a bit of white noise or something, or like makeshift shaker or something, and that's kind of ruining the groove for me. I would just switch off that sound, just don't use it. Over here this sounds a lot better without it. I think it's feeling a bit empty too. Like the ARP on its own is not compelling enough to like take up the entire track. I think like some more background, like a drone or something, to like anchor the track, and maybe the bass line could be a bit more interesting sound design wise.
Can I get a home,
It's kind of just like sub. Sorry, got another donation. Thanks, Jordanez, for the $5. Really appreciate your work, support, and tips you give us. Just supporting you back. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. So you've only really got that one pad in the background. And again, that sound is not very interesting, so it's not really doing much for the track. Even taking just that one pad and putting something like Valhalla Shimmer on it would make it a bit more dynamic and a bit more interesting, I think. So I think there's quite a lot to work on this track. Mostly just trying to fill it out with a bit more interesting sounds. But I mean, the idea itself isn't bad. It just needs to be executed a bit better. Past 77 bars. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But Yeah, even over here, it's like, it still feels quite empty. The drums also feel a bit empty. So like that. You've only really got like that offbeat hat. And then this other thing that's like landing on the kick, which I don't like. So once you remove that, you've only really got the offbeat hat and the clap or the snare. And I'm hearing like, I don't know, some other sort of loop in there. So I guess you've got like kind of enough elements, but for some reason it still feels, I don't know, dry and a bit empty. So it just takes some experimentation, trying out different loops and stuff to try and fill it out and drive the groove. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so I'm out of time, but we've got one last donation submission. So that's Eternity. Just so you guys know, if anybody else donates now, I can't actually do your track, so I'm sorry. Eternity. I think it's a bit weird how that 16th note hat just disappears suddenly. Because it was like creating some groove and then that groove just disappears. So I would keep that going. Oh, is that the wrong song? I thought you said it was called Eternity. Shit, sorry. What are the chances? Both tracks named Eternity. Okay. We'll do this one then.
I have you on repeat, grasping for tender moments I hold on to like delicate keepsakes.
Ooh. She's talking sexies to me.
They are so few and far between, and I'm grateful for the memorability of each moment. Moments wrapped in romance that end with bitter sunrises and goodbyes. Moments so fragile and rare that I wonder if they would have the same taste, if not such a delicacy. But I'd still devour you as I lay here and recall years of wavering emotions, suppressed desires, and volcanic explosions that retreat into dormancy. I wonder, could we ever flow together, or are we two twin souls finding each other in the wrong lifetime? I have you on repeat. I have you on repeat. I have you on repeat. Eternity.
Okay, cool. So nice idea so far. I think the vocals are cool. But then this kind of drop that comes in isn't really, like, I get the idea that you have, works in theory, but it's just the execution isn't very good. And I think it's mostly to do with the sound design of that ARP. Like, my suggestion is to just make a new sound for it. So this is the perfect time for me to plug my course. I have a Diva sound design course on PML, and if you watch that course, you'll probably know how to make a nice, thick, beefy ARP. This one at the moment sounds like it's almost like it's band passed, like it's lacking the low end, like it's been high passed maybe. And then the reverb on it is too high, I think.
I wonder, could we ever flow together? Eternity. I have you on repeat.
Yeah, and the kick, somebody mentioned it sounds like a psytrance kick, and I agree it does. It feels like quite pitchy. So I think you can try and find something that's like a bit darker and thumpy. Just try out a bunch of different kicks or steal kicks from tracks that you like.
Could we ever flow together?
And just watch that reverb on your drums too, like on the clap and on the tambourine. The reverb is like a bit too spacey. So just shorter reverbs, like, and you don't always need reverb on drums. Like, I don't know if you ever watch my live streams, but I hardly ever put reverb on my drums. And like, if you listen to, you know, a lot of tracks on like Anjuna Deep and stuff, a lot of them don't really have much reverb on the drums, and if they do, it's like very tasteful reverb, you know, like they put it on a send and it's mixed in like very low volumes, so it's like barely audible, it's just felt.
The way that it falls, nothing could come between us. Taken away in the rain, will it ever be the same? Don't wanna leave it alone. Feels like I'm leaving my home. Nothing will be quite the same without you here next to me. Remember the way that it was. Nothing could come between us. Taken away in the rain. Will it ever be the same? Don't wanna leave it alone. Feels like I'm leaving my home. Nothing will be quite the same without you here next to me.
So pretty much all the problems in this track just come down to poor sound selection. And unfortunately, it's not something that you can just fix with some advice. It's something that you got to develop your ear over the years and years of music production. And I wish there was like some sort of shortcut or some way to tell you how to choose a good sound, but there just isn't. All I can say is just listen to a lot of music and reference tracks and just keep working on music and your ear will develop. But I mean, so far, like the patches, the choice of presets, I don't know if they're presets or if you made them, but those are not really like very professional sounding. The kick doesn't really fit the track. It's a bit too clicky and psytrancey. And yeah, I've already mentioned the ARP, but pretty much all the sounds there, like if you gave this project to me and said, fix it, I would probably replace pretty much every sound in it and just keep the MIDI.
I wonder, could we ever flow together?
I have you on repeat. I have you on repeat.
Yeah, so I think the melodies and stuff and the songwriting is like, I can hear the potential there. So don't get like down on me saying, oh, I don't think all the sound selection's good, because you have potentially a good song here. And I do like feel a little bit of emotion there coming from, the melodic ideas. And, you've picked some vocals that are kind of cool. So yeah, definitely like don't take this advice negatively. Keep working, keep making tracks, and I'm sure, in a couple of years, you'll have some really nice sounding stuff.
I wonder, could we ever flow together, or are we two twin souls
Finding each other in the wrong lifetime.
Damn, that ending really got me in the feels. Ugh. Hey, Anjuna Liquid. Okay, that's it for today. I've gone over my allotted time for this, but thanks to everybody who joined the stream and for donating and sending your tracks in. I really appreciate everything you guys do. Yeah, have a great Friday and lovely weekend. And I'll catch you next week. Bye.